What is going on, everybody? Mr. Andrews here, and we're going to be doing another kind of a shorter video, kind of going over the next couple assignments in your Blizzard bag as we begin to wrap these up. Before we get going into everything, just want to say again that this is going to be the last week of live streams. I'm sure you've heard just about all your other teachers say that as well. But I'm going to try to remind you guys as much as possible just to kind of hopefully prevent any kind of confusion, later this week, whether it be like Thursday or Friday. But this is the last week of live streams that we will be doing. That is not to say that we still won't be available to help answer any questions or provide any other support. We're also encouraged to upload other videos, just not necessarily, doing the live streams. But some of the teachers, myself included, I'm sure are still going to be willing and wanting to do some videos and posting those throughout the next couple weeks as we wrap up our school year. And it's well, when you guys see this, it'll be Wednesday the 20th. It's pretty late on a Tuesday night here when I'm making this video, but yeah, we're almost through May already, which is hard to imagine. And we've been going at this, at home thing, learning from home for well over 2 months, which is kind of crazy to wrap your brain around. But yeah, everybody's making the best out of this situation. Hopefully, you guys are working hard, and hopefully, everybody's staying safe. Still taking this thing seriously, even though some restrictions and some things have been kind of loosened up, I guess, with more kind of recent events going on in Ohio. But just make sure you're staying up to date with everything the best that you can, and not necessarily just taking this like it's no big deal, because it still is. It's still, again, a global pandemic, and it's still affecting everybody's lives one way or another. But without any further ado, what I'm going to do in this video is I'll try to keep it short, no more than like 20 minutes or so, or maybe just slightly longer. So I just wanted to kind of go through the next couple assignments in your Blizzard bag. So we're kind of getting closer towards the end here, looking at some of the rights and responsibilities of citizens in the United States specifically. And one of the assignments that we have here is called This Land is Your Land. This is assignment number 9, I believe. If you caught my video from earlier this week, we kind of went over the Students Engage assignment, kind of did a short walkthrough with that. So if you need a little extra help with this assignment, go check out that video. I think I posted it on Monday, so it should say assignment 8 in the title. But like I said, I want to go through the next couple, and I'm not going to go through it line by line. I'm not going to do all the background reading. I just want to kind of give you guys a heads up and let you guys know where you should probably look or kind of pay close attention to. But for the one that this land is your land, this is geography practice. This is hopefully making you guys aware of all the territories, the states, and really what makes the United States. Because believe it or not, it's more than just the 50 states that we should all know and maybe in some weird way love, perhaps. But yeah, again, we have the 50 United States. You probably all remember that song that you guys had to memorize in elementary school. I heard some of you sixth graders and still seventh graders sing it every now and then in class, especially when we're doing some geography practice. But the United States also has territories. Okay, so these places, these territories, aren't official states yet, so they don't have the same style of rights. If you think back to the Great State Assignment, looking at state governments, they work in slightly different ways. But some of these territories are Puerto Rico and Guam. Okay, those territories accumulated after the Spanish-American War. The U.S. Virgin Islands, there's American Samoa, the Northern Mariana Islands. Okay, all of these more or less kind of we are able to possess them after armed conflicts, after wars. Again, you can go into more detail with looking at some of these pictures here. Again, you guys get to see the pictures in color on my computer. Sorry that you guys don't have it on your packets, but if you're curious about that, you can hopefully pause the screen here and read a little bit about what is going on in this picture. There's also, some maybe confusion when you hear some people say like the contiguous or the continental United States. What that really refers to is the 48 states that are kind of all connected. What people think of when they think of or when they visualize or see a map of the United States, they think of the lower 48, which doesn't include Hawaii and Alaska, which don't touch the rest of the 48. So sometimes you're going to hear people call that the continental or the contiguous United States, like right there. You can kind of see contiguous meaning that they are touching. Okay, so that's all the lower 48. Um, and this kind of wraps up this background reading, talking about the special places. Okay, so things that are important to the country as a whole. So obviously, going to be looking at the capital, the city of Washington, located in the District of Columbia. That's where you're going to find the White House, Capitol building, Supreme Court, stuff like that. So that's where the national government is located. Obviously, they have a picture here of the Statue of Liberty. You kind of read a little bit of the background there, kind of towards the bottom. And what the activity is going to have you guys get into here as we make our way down is really just, again, exercising your geography practice. So, we spend a lot of time, whether in 6th, 7th, or 8th grade, practicing some geography skills, identifying the different features on a map, looking at the different types of maps and things like this. So you're kind of putting this all together. So you have different parts here: A, B, C, D, E, and I believe this goes through G. Yeah, territorial gains. And you're presented with a blank map. Now, I know that maybe not everybody here has access to maybe all the coloring supplies and stuff like that, or colored version of this to make out where the different rivers and stuff are. But for this map activity, just try the best that you can. When you see the kind of squiggly lines going through here, okay, these are generally going to be rivers. Some of them are a little bit harder to make out. Think of the Ohio River, which makes up our southern border and goes into Pennsylvania there a little bit. So you got, the Mississippi and the Colorado rivers, over here in this area, and some of your other maybe lesser known major rivers kind of out west. So you're given this blank map. Make sure we're following the directions for each section here. Okay, if they're asking you to make a specific symbol or to color it a certain way, just try your best. Again, it doesn't need to be 100% specific or just like what they have in their examples. Just make it as close as you can. But what's also nice on this is how it's having you try to locate your state, okay, state of Ohio. So hopefully we know where that is. And if you haven't, or if you don't know and you forgot, or just kind of tuned it all out, Ohio, okay, right here, often called the heart of it all, kind of looks like a heart in some weird crooked way. Okay? Ohio is often categorized or often seen as a nice kind of blend or a nice kind of small sample of the United States as a whole, because Ohio has its large urban cities. It has Columbus, it has Cleveland, it has Cincinnati. Okay? So it's a nice way to kind of get a feel for maybe what other large city populations are feeling. But it also, as maybe some of us know, has a lot of kind of farmland. It has a lot of rural areas. Okay, so Ohio is a nice kind of snapshot of the country as a whole. So sometimes you might hear people refer to Ohio as the heart of it all. So Ohio's right there again. That could help you with, what was that, letter F there? Okay. Yeah. So put it, border the state you live in, put roughly where you live and your state's capital and things like that. These are things you could hopefully quickly Google or pull out your phone and look up if you need to. Some of the other things like G here, you are going to need some of the other types of maps or globes that they present for you. So again, use those ones here. So we have Alaska, okay, and Hawaii. Again, 48 and 59 of our 50 states, not part of the continental because they don't touch. Again, Hawaii is a chain of islands in the middle of the Pacific Ocean. Okay, you can kind of see that here on the globe. And Alaska is actually connected to northern Canada, okay, but it is a state in the United States of America. So it's kind of weird thing to think about. Some of our other territories in the United States, okay, going to use this section right here. And same can go for this very bottom section. Okay, so make sure you're just reading the directions carefully and you're not trying to, fit everything on this top map of the continental United States. Okay. And if it's asking you to use color, try to use color if you have it available. If you do have like crayons or markers, if you don't worry about it. Maybe just use a different symbol to represent a color instead. Okay? Or just make your own little key on the side. All right. So the next kind of assignment that I wanted to go over quickly was this one called Citizen Me. Now, it kind of starts off with these blank pyramids or kind of inverted pyramids. So initially, these don't make a whole lot of sense. The point of this, or what you know, the idea of what this was going to create or was supposed to do, was have you guys like make a little 3D kind of foldable thing. Um, we've done these before, whether it's a little like three thing flip chart, maybe it's the like a little person pop up that we've done before. But we've done these kind of 3D or foldable things. I know Mr. Nelson has done them in years past, and I think science is really good at using these kind of foldables to kind of organize the information in a fun, unique way. But you have, I think, four or at least three of these inverted pyramids, and they're labeled with things like rights. If my computer wants to cooperate and not take forever to scroll. So we got rights, we have sources, and we have levels. Okay, and generally these are or were meant to come after the reading. I think it just got misplaced when we were putting these packets together, so my bad. Um, but I know maybe some of us probably just totally skip past this and kind of scratching our heads maybe when we saw this because we're not really sure what to do. But it makes sense after you kind of do the reading. But for those of us that are watching, I'm going to kind of give you the answers in just a second. But ultimately, what that is hopefully trying to show us is this citizenship pyramid. Okay, and it comes after doing this Citizen Me background reading. Again, for this video, I'm not going to go into it word by word or do kind of the reading. That's something I'll try to do during the live streams, or if somebody has a specific request to do that, I can do that for you. But again, this is just more of a quick update and overview of these next few assignments. So make sure do read these background readings. So it's talking about how you are citizens. So it says you are, may not go around thinking of yourself as a citizen, but you are one. Okay, so you're a member of the community. And there's different levels of citizenships, or of different levels of being a citizen. Meaning you're not just a citizen of Akron, Ohio. You're a citizen of Akron, but you're a citizen of Ohio and a citizen of the United States. So it's all part of this kind of bigger picture, and that's why they use this organizer of the pyramid. Then we also have our sources of rights, okay, and responsibilities. So what gives us these rights? What gives us these responsibilities? Is it a thing like a city charter? Is it a constitution? Again, look for the big bold words here, those key terms to kind of help you get your thoughts organized. And then it goes a little bit more into detail into what a right is. Again, think back to looking at people like Jean-Jacques Rousseau, who believes that people are born with these natural rights. The Constitution and our state constitution guarantee and give us these rights. Okay, responsibilities. Okay, those are duties to other people, the government, or society. So rights and responsibilities. Again, that's really the big kind of takeaway for this last section, or this last like third of this Blizzard bag is looking at the role that citizens, you, okay, your mom, dad, your grandma, grandpa, aunt, uncle, whoever it is, and you guys, when you get to be of age, the role that you will play, and maybe in some cases are already playing. Okay, so you have rights, you have responsibilities, and they are different. Okay, so it's important to know where those are, how those are different, and where we can, you know, be able to identify those differences. Okay, and then there's a little activity here, a little diary thing. I'll scroll down so you can see it here as well, but it's looking at this short story of this guy named Ted. So Ted's big day of rights and responsibilities. So it gives you all these scenarios. It kind of gives you an idea of what might happen to to yourself or to people you know. And then after reading this story about Ted, okay, and again referring back to the background reading to help us out a little bit, we want to complete his journal for him. Okay, so it's asking what rights or responsibilities, and here where I'm clicking, did Ted, um, so what rights or responsibilities did Ted exercise in his role as a United States citizen? Okay, then we just need to identify, is that a right or responsibility? Same thing for state citizen, city citizen, and I don't know why The spacing is so weird there, so apologies. So again, just make sure we identify what those rights or responsibilities are, and then we can just do a simple check in whether that was a right or responsibility. So like I said, I did kind of want to show you guys what that foldable or what that inverted pyramid actually looks like if you're completely stuck. I'll um, hold on to the screen for a little bit or kind of keep it up there so in case you need to pause it so you can complete yours. I'll let you guys do that. Just give me 1 second here. Yeah, initially this was meant to be kind of cut out and glued and put together and everything like that. You guys don't need to do that, but I think filling it in will help. So here is what mine looks like. Again, you can kind of see how the okay, sorry, it's just kind of adjusting and formatting so you guys can see it a little bit. See the scissors that kind of tell us or give us an idea. That's not what I meant to do. Sorry, guys. Is that these are all meant to be folded and kind of pasted together with these flaps. Okay. So let's look here in the middle for the responsibilities. Okay. So your responsibility at the national level. Okay. So the very top level, your responsibility as a citizen is to not commit treason. Okay. Don't do anything against the United States and to vote. Okay. Your responsibilities for the state are to pay property tax, income tax, and sales tax. Maybe your responsibilities as a citizen in the city. Maybe it's Akron or maybe it's some other city that you live in. Just list some examples. No barking dogs at night. It's something we have to put up with is that our neighbors like to kind of keep their dogs out at night and it gets kind of frustrating sometimes. And no kites in the park. So again, that could change depending on what city you're living in, and that's just giving a couple of examples. So maybe you know of some specific laws or sorry, some specific responsibilities in your city. And then narrowing down even further, we have school. No backward hats, gum, weapons. Again, think back 2 months ago when we were in school. What are some responsibilities that you have in school? Again, not bullying would be a good one. And the very bottom of this would be home. Okay, so what are some responsibilities you have at home? Is it to help with the dishes? Is it to help with laundry? Look after maybe younger siblings, okay, or clean the living room? Whatever you guys may have responsibility to do at home, that's what you would put there. And then you're really just going to take that same approach and apply it to the different sections here. So if we look down at the different levels, okay, so the nation, obviously in the United States. The state would be Ohio. Okay, your city, whatever it is. For me, it would be Akron. The school would be Summit Academy, Akron Middle. If you want to abbreviate and just put SAMS, you could do that. And a home, okay? You don't need to put your address if you don't want to. That's totally fine. You could just put my house, okay? Okay, so again, the levels one should be pretty easy, okay? The rights, okay? So your rights as a citizen. Again, I know it's kind of crooked here, but again, on the national level, your rights, freedom of speech, worship, right to vote, and serve on jury duty. Okay, those are some rights that you have as a national citizen, a citizen of the United States. Some rights you have as a citizen in the state of Ohio, a right to be to a free education, equal rights for men and women. And it is obviously if you have other rights or other examples that you want to include on your little organizer, you can, or you can just take the ones that I'm providing for you. Okay, your rights as a citizen of the city of maybe Akron, can wherever you're living. A right to use sidewalks and parks, okay, especially in Northeast Ohio. You know, we have the Cuyahoga Valley National Parks. They're great. Okay. Your right as a citizen in our school, okay. They give the example of eating in cafeteria, wear appropriate T-shirt, okay. Those are some rights that example ones that they give. If you again have other ones you want to use, please use those. And what are some rights that you have at home? So what are some things that you think you have rights to do in the home? Okay, and the last thing here for sources. So, what gives us these rights? What gives us these responsibilities? That's what they're talking about with the sources. And again, if you go back to the background reading, okay, if you go back to the background reading, it goes into this in more detail. So, again, here it talks about this idea of being a citizen in your community, the different levels of citizenship. We talk about levels, that's talking about this bottom part, okay? And then if we go to the next page, okay, here we are getting into the different sources, okay, sources of rights and responsibilities. Don't know why that's popping up, my bad. So again, make sure we do the background reading. It does help, but if you are completely lost or this didn't make any sense, you can use mine that I am having or that I'm showing up here. So again, sources. What document gives you, a citizen, these rights and responsibilities? The national level, that's the United States Constitution. Okay, on the state level, that is the state constitution, so the Constitution of Ohio. Okay, for the city level, that what document, what source gives you these rights and responsibilities? That's the Akron City Charter and ordinances. Okay, so the school handbook, these big old packets that you and your families get at the beginning of every year. Okay, and what source gives you those your rights and responsibilities in your home? Is it your mom? Is it your dad? Is it grandma, grandpa, or whoever it is you live with? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to kind of keep this up here. So if you guys need to pause and complete your chart to do it, that's fine. Okay. So the last little bit of what I want to go over today is the census assignment. Okay. So kind of way back when, I forget when it even was, I think very late March, maybe very early April, there was that junior scholastic assignment about the census, how that was, a big deal because the census happens, once every 10 years, and it does affect things like presidential elections because it changes the number of votes each state has in terms of the presidential election. But obviously, there's more important and maybe more personal local issues, or more personal local ways that the census does influence you. So, some of what you will read for this census article may sound familiar if you completed that junior scholastic article and the 10 questions, the 10 multiple choice questions assignment way back when. But again, I'm not going to get into all the background reading here. Just make sure we are reading this. So again, census, getting an idea of what that is. How did the census start? Again, it is in the Constitution. Okay. So then it goes into how does a census actually work? Okay. So what happened after everyone gets counted? And a cool part of this is, if you guys haven't already seen it, is that you guys get to complete or fill in like a pretend census or like a mock census. So you can kind of see the style of questions that maybe in the year 2030 you will have to answer. Okay. It also gets into who gets counted. And again, very similar to the article that we had before. So is it hard to count to everyone? And what will the census ask? These are just kind of general, big, thought-provoking questions that hopefully you have once you kind of get the understanding of what a census is. And then what they have here for this kind of first activity is a foldable. You guys don't need to cut this out. If you did already, great, but it's just really defining our vocab. Okay, so census, Census Bureau. Whether you need to do this or not necessarily. Again, this is really just vocab to help you become familiar with your key terms in this specific assignment. But what this is going to have you guys do with the actual activities um, is have some practice with being able to identify what is kind of our fake news, or what is factual. So it's called misinformation fake out. It's important that people have correct information about the census. Don't be fooled by these deceptive social media posts. They all look like Twitter by my eye. Read each post and fix it in the space below by sharing a corrected version. Okay. So again, after doing the background reading, hopefully we have a good understanding of what the census is, how it works, who gets counted, and stuff like that. And so what it's asking you to do is to fix these tweets up here. Okay, so again, keep it short, keep it brief. That's the idea of Twitter, is that to you know type out these quick little bits of information. Doesn't need to be full in depth paragraphs or anything like that. The second activity, activity B, is called the Census and You. Complete the chart by thinking about how each group listed below will use the census data and how the data will eventually impact you. Write your answers in the space provided. Okay, so national government, state and local, city planners, businesses, and you. So it gives you some nice room here. Again, making sure we're just following along with the directions here. So complete the chart by thinking about how each group listed below will use the census data. Okay, and then yourself as well. So hard to count. Okay, this is the next little activity. So hard to count. Communities exist all over the United States and vary from location to location. What do you think would make a community hard to count? Read through some of the possible reasons. Then for each group, list the factors that could prevent the accurate account and think of possible solutions to overcome them. Okay. So then you're kind of seeing what these different groups are, and you're just filling in what you filling in these bullet points to the whatever you think matches the best. So children under the age of 5, the homeless, obviously, would be hard to count in a census, and new residents, people coming into the country, maybe gaining citizenship. Okay, and this was the part. I think it's coming after this. Okay, yeah. So D, activity D, is looking at a primary source. So it's pulling from the Constitution. So it's nice that we are able to get our hands on a primary source here and kind of use that. So similar to some DBQs, or when we're analyzing photos or pictures or things like that, primary sources, it's part of social studies, part of history. It's part of what we, need to do. And it bums me out that we can't really do that, given the situation. But it's having us read the excerpt, this small little bit taken from the Constitution, Article 1, Section 2. So some words have been defined for you. Others you'll have to figure out on your own. So you can use Google if you want to. So after doing this reading and you're answering the questions, make sure to keep the answers short, brief. You don't need to go full on detail. Write up, a paragraph for each. If that's your thing, though, if you really want to write paragraphs for each, sure. But one sentence responses should work just fine for this. Okay, and the last one, activity E. I'm sorry, Mr. Andrews can't alphabet apparently, but activity E is a practice survey. So this is kind of fun. Again, now in 2020, you can either fill it out on paper or you can do it online. This is the first year that you can actually complete a survey online, so you can see what some of these example questions might look like. Okay, so again, maybe you've seen a paper like this or at home over the last couple months. Like I've told you guys before, my wife completed ours for us. Pretty much, the week that we got it, she just typed it in on our phone and completed it that way. So that's something that you can do. But if you want to take a stab at this and kind of get prepared for the type of questions you may have to answer again in 10 years, this will be kind of fun for you, I think. Okay. And this last one is a optional activity. Again, keyword optional, so you don't have to do it. If you really wanted to, it's creating a poster or a public service announcement to get the word out about the census, on the importance of being counted. So again, you don't need to do it. If you are very artistically inclined and want to do it, sure, more power to you. Design a poster, but you don't have to. Okay, I know that seemed like a lot, guys, and I apologize if I went a little fast, but the beauty of this is that you can always go back and start from the beginning or wherever you need to. If you got any questions, please don't hesitate to ask, whether it's asking them on Google Classroom or in our Google Hangouts thread or email. If you guys want to use email, do that. Ask your mom or dad, or again, whoever you live with. If you can have them email me or something, we'll try to get back in contact with everybody. But what I would like to do for this last week of streams, the live streams on YouTube, starting Wednesday at 1 o'clock for 8th grade, is to kind of go over this assignment, the fourth branch. Okay. Obviously, we looked at the 3 branches of government, but sometimes people like to refer to citizens as like the 4th branch of government. Again, that idea of this balance of power, that last kind of check on the government. So what we're going to focus on during this last week of live streams is the 4th branch of government. Okay. So hopefully this video wasn't too long. I probably went way over my 20 minutes, and I'm sorry about that. But I wanted to make sure we at least got quick and concise overview over the next few assignments in your Blizzard bag. Again, those are going to be collected, I think, starting this Friday and the following week. So make sure we're trying to wrap these up. I know a lot of you guys have already finished it and maybe even turned it in. Um, but I hope you guys are working hard. I hope you guys are finishing these up. I do hope to see some of you guys maybe before graduation and stuff. Uh, but on that note, I hope you guys are staying safe, and we'll see you the next time. Thanks, everybody. Have a good night.